7 to teach public speaking to kids. Hey, I'm Ryan McLean. I'm from publicspeakingpower.com and I've got 2 kids of my own, and I am super excited to talk to you today about how you can teach public speaking to kids. So many children grow up with this massive fear of public speaking. They don't want to get up in front of a crowd because they're scared of who knows what they're scared of. There's so many different fears around public speaking. But if we can get them into public speaking early, build up their confidence as a public speaker, then as they grow into their teenage years, as they go into adulthood, then they're going to be confident in public speaking. We know that the benefits of public speaking are huge. They can help you advance in your career, help you be seen as a thought leader, and help you in so many other ways. And public speaking is extremely important as we go into adulthood. So it's a great idea to teach our kids more about being effective public speakers. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video or this podcast. It shows that you are someone who wants to teach your kids, whether it be the kids that you have, gave birth to or take care of, or it be the kids that are your students. And so what are my tips around teaching public speaking to kids? Tip number 1 is not to call it public speaking. Don't call it public speaking. We create this importance around public speaking, we just hold it in such high esteem. Public speaking, so important. Don't get it wrong. And we scare the heck out of our children. So how can we make it more fun? Well, why don't we call it drama? Why don't we call it giving a monologue? Why don't we call it presenting yourself to the world? I don't know, call it whatever you want to call it, but make it a game. Don't make it an activity that, kids are going to get marked on, or, we want to make it fun for our children. And so if we take the emphasis away from public speaking and more towards the having fun, and we can do that by changing the name, then we should do that. Number 2, less study, more practice. I did high school. I'm 25. My young looks, I may look 15, but I'm 25. I did high school and we studied speeches in high school. And what do you do when you learn about public speaking? You sit down and you watch some of the great speeches of all time. You watch your Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream. You watch all these great speeches, and then what do? You go through and you analyze the technique. And then what's the goal of the class? At the end of the class, you have to get up in front of everyone and you have to deliver a speech. This is mayhem to me. We sit down through multiple classes and study the best speeches in the world, speeches that changed the entire world. And then we don't give kids any practice and we expect them to get up and be confident in front of a crowd to give just one speech, their first one, and we're going to mark them on that one speech. So take away some of the study and put in more practice. Let's get them up, let's get them speaking, and let's study. Once they're already confident at speaking, well then let's study technique. Technique, we put too much focus on technique. I did a video podcast article on how public speaking rubric, which is a measurement scale that measures technique, is actually hindering our children and hindering our students and stopping them becoming confident public speakers. So by doing less study and by doing more practice, kids are going to get better. They're going to get more confident and more excited. Public speaking, I find it very helpful to think of public speaking like riding a bike, in that you need to get up, you need to do it in order to get better. Tip number 3 is smaller groups. So what do? We do our study. We then get kids to get up in front of the entire crowd and give a speech. But if you've got a large class, maybe you've got 30, or even if you just got a small class, break it up into smaller groups. Have kids present to one person, or 2 people, or 3 people, but have them present to small groups who can then give them positive feedback, and they can then fail in front of a few people rather than fail in front of everyone. So by making the groups smaller, we get more practice and it's less confrontational, so we're more likely to not have that fear of public speaking as we're growing up. Number 4 is impromptu games, but you need to be careful with impromptu games, and you need to choose ones that are fun, and people need to be comfortable and in a comfortable situation that they can have a laugh if they don't get it right. So create impromptu games that start off really easy, and so we build confidence, and then we get into some of the harder impromptu games as they become proficient public speakers. But impromptu games are great because I believe one of the biggest fears around public speaking comes because we're scared that when we're in a position and we don't know what we're going to say, or we fumble, or we have a mistake, or someone interrupts us, we're scared that everything's just going to fall apart. But by teaching kids to think on the spot, then we can start to get over that fear. Number 5 is to teach them message before technique. So this is similar to less study, more practice, but I find that with public speaking rubric and with the way we're teaching our kids, we're saying, well, you open with an introduction and it should be 15 seconds long, and then you go into this and you tell people what your speech is going to be about, and then you go into your speech and then you wrap it up at the end, and then you give a conclusion, and you need to look at the audience and you need to do all these other things. It's like trying to learn how to drive a car, and then how do you learn? You go in a car park where there's no cars at all, and you just kind of drive around for a bit. You get used to driving. Then you start indicating, then you start looking in your rearview mirror, then you start doing all of these other things as well. We start slow when we learn a skill, and we build up the technique as we go. If you want to become a race car driver, then you obviously need to learn a lot more car driving technique than someone who just drives every day just around the place like I do. So with public speaking, let's use the same strategy to teach our students. Let's get them to practice. Let's get them to learn how to create a message that is worth listening to, get them to deliver it, and then as they improve, then we focus on technique. Don't let technique be first, let the message be first, and then lead that into practice. Number 6 is lots of positive feedback. There are so many people in this world that are going to give your kids negative feedback. They're going to give them constructive criticism, or they may just downright insult your children. But there's not enough people who are building our children up and who are giving them positive feedback. So yes, we think we're helping our children by offering constructive criticism and next time do this, but try and sandwich it between 2 positive comments. You did this awesome. You were so good when you got up and when you said this. You just might need to tweak this a little bit and look at the crowd a bit more. But your conclusion was awesome. The way that you said blah, 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 that was amazing. And so what we're doing is giving positive feedback, squishing in a little bit of constructive criticism, and then ending on positive feedback. Or just give positive feedback. I find the best way to teach my kids is to seriously just tell them how awesome they're doing, encourage them to keep going, and they learn naturally. Public speaking, you learn naturally if you do it over and over again, but if you don't have someone encouraging you, telling you that you're doing a good job, then you're unlikely to continue practicing. So positive feedback is massive. Number 7 is to use video. So we are we're in the information age, and video is about to overtake text as the major way people consume content. And yeah, well, that's it. That's the sentence. So video is about to overtake text. This is very important. And a lot of people in even my generation and people older than me don't think that this is that important, but it is going to change everything because we are moving away from text and moving towards video, moving towards audio, because we now have the internet, we now have the bandwidth that we can do that. So if you want your kids to be successful, then it's a good idea to start and teach them how to be comfortable in front of a camera. Because think about it, when you go into a job, you're going to be doing conference calls, you're going to be doing video chats, they might want to upload stuff on YouTube. How can they be confident doing that? If they're going to be a musician, then they're going to want to get up in stage. And video camera is a great way to teach people how to do it. We can then get them at an early age to watch themselves and listen to themselves, and you know how we think, oh my gosh, I sound so creepy. That is totally not me. If we can get them used to listening to themselves, then their confidence is going to grow. That's my 7 tips for teaching public speaking to kids. My 8th tip, which I struggled to include, but I believe we shouldn't mark kids on technique. And look, that's something for another post, but public speaking is something that improves with time, that we get better at. I think we mark technique way too much and we don't look at the message that kids are giving. We don't teach them to think about their message. We don't teach them to create a message that's worth listening to. We focus so heavily on technique that they're just getting so scared because we haven't taught them what to say, let alone how to say it. And so I think by removing the marking system, making public speaking a game, making something that we do for fun, not something that we're going to mark you on and test you on and going to see whether you're good enough and competent, why don't we just make public speaking something that we do, something that's fun, not something that's tested? Because I think if we make it engaging and we motivate them to do it without the use of a test, then they're going to be a lot more confident at it. So there's my tips for teaching public speaking to kids. You can get more video, audio, and blog posts like this by going to the blog publicspeakingpower.com. And if you have any thoughts or opinions on how we should teach kids, or you have better ideas than me, or you disagree with something I say, then head over to the blog and leave a comment, and I'm always open for discussion.